process and technology. So, well, first of all, I want to thank you, Legal Hackers, for having me here and letting me share the information I want to share with you about RPA. Anyone in the room knows what RPA stands for? Okay, so not much people. Well, RPA basically means Robotic Process Automation. It is a term that was coined by a company named Blue Prism. Well, they are our partners in this industry, and we try to bring robots to the legal industry, which may sound crazy, but we will see what a robot means in the legal industry, in the processes industry. Well, I want to, for 10 minutes it's going to be a little short to explain all about robots, but I encourage you to look for Blue Prism videos in YouTube in order to get deeper into how a robot works within a process. So I want to explain the basis and how it will affect the legal industry and how it is affecting right now other industry. But as we know that legal is always quite behind the other industries. It's just an industry that is very, very interesting in order to implement robotics. Why? Well, I want to explain first what's the concept behind the robotic. Well, when we work with robots in a company, we have to think further. We can't think only about a robot doing an operation or executing a project. It's a game changer. It's a strategic decision that the company must take, because it's going to change all the environment, how the lawyers work, how the business model is going to run. It's going to change because it affects all the lawyers, the layers of the firm. Well, it's a partnership commitment. Must be a partnership commitment with the firm, precisely because it's a strategic decision. If we analyze a firm, we can see different layers. We have I have called them the penguin solitude. It's because within a firm we are going to find out that there are people that are eager to use this kind of technology, and they are like these early adopters. But they are there in the tip of the iceberg. They are working with processes, maybe with some of them designed in Excel. That is quite weird to use Excel for that, but they are going to run some processes. They are going to run some macros with Excel, and they are going to use this processing. But the thing is, as with the iceberg here, the problem we have to solve when working with robots is behind the tip. The whole mass is behind the tip. That's what we call the robotic operating model. We have to create a robotic operating model that causes major changes in the organization. What I want to explain with that is that when we establish a robotic operating model, we have to think about how it is going to change the way we work, because we are not going to be working on the employee production or productivity, but we are going to change our mentality into a process-oriented business. You have to think on how you are going to exploit the process, not on how you are going to exploit the lawyers or the clients. Well, the lawyers and the clients, they are persons, so they are people, so you don't want to exploit the people, and you don't want to exploit the client. And that's a major change, because law firms in Spain, mostly, maybe abroad, the things are a little bit faster right now, but in Spain there are a lot of firms that are based in billable hours right now. And this means that that you are going to exploit the clients in order to charge them more hours, and your bonus is going to come to you because you are able to charge more hours to the cases, to the clients. Well, in this robotic operating model, we are going to try to exploit the process in a way that we are going to seek the profitability of the process, not the profitability of the hour that is billed to the client. That's a major change in the mentality here in the law firms. And then the third layer you have to take attention to is the foundations. You have to have a great partnership within the firm, because you are going to change the way the firm is going to be ruled. Now the firms are quite pyramid shape, and when you work with a robotic operating model, you are going to be working with engineers, you are going to be working with linguists, you are going to be working with financial teams, and the main change here, when you go now to a law firm, the partner is the one who owns all the business process. They own the capital, they own they do the sale process, they do actually they work on the cases. Well, in this robotic operation model, the partner or the lawyers work together with these engineers, work together with financial teams, and sometimes they do not own the process. The process is owned by an engineer that is responsible for maintaining the process. So they need to let go some of the power they have today within the companies, because maybe they are still going to control the process, but the process is going to be owned by an engineer, a financial team, or whoever is responsible for it. This is a major change in the mentality that is going to affect as well the way their bonus is given. So imagine if you tell a partner now in a law firm that his bonus or her bonus is going to depend on an engineer. It's kind of a crazy idea if you tell any partner in Spain this thing. So let's see some figures of the robotic operating, the robotics market. These figures were extracted from a report from Deloitte. We know that these big consultancy firms always try to push in order to implement faster, in order to be the first on the market, but we can get a kind of idea of what's going on. Well, they say that the global adoption of robotic process automation is going to take only 5 years. They say that RPA industry size in 2021 is going to be 2.9 billion. It's like from now it's going to be like a 50% growth. Is the investment that the companies that are already using this RPA technology, they are willing to invest 78% more for the next 3 years. Resistance within the employees is very low. It's only 17%. Well, we might think that the employees might think that the robots are going to take over their work, and they are going to lose their job post because of the robotics. But instead of that, they see the robots as an opportunity to do some more added value work instead of doing repetitive work that doesn't give any value to the client. Well, the cost of 200 employees could be reduced by a robot to nearly 30%. And maybe the only downturn of these statistics is that only 3% of these companies have a scale more than 50 robots. But the good point is that these companies has doubled the robot workforce in the last years. So let's go deeper into what the digital workforce is, taking the robot out of the human. Well, we always know that production chain is something like that. Robots working with objects within a process. They transform these products into something that is sellable to the client. Well, this is more or less the same concept in a robotic process automation in the service industry. But we might see something more like this. This is a process that a robot executed. A robot can execute process, whether it's a physical process, like the one we have seen before, or it's a process that is drawn in a model like that. Maybe we all know this Visio Microsoft program that you can design the process you have in your organization. And a robot, basically what it does is to run these processes, execute what you tell the robot to do. So we have two main concepts here. You have the process and you have objects. What are the objects? The objects are these specific actions a robot is going to do with your different platforms you have within your company. Maybe you have a CRM, maybe you have a ERP, maybe you have different technologies that you lose a lot of time working through all of them. You have to extract some information from your ERP in order to check some facts with your CRM, or maybe you have to go into a public web page in order to extract some information. Well, that's what a robot is good at. He can go into all that system and get all that information, gather all that information, and give it to you in a record time. I will put you on a specific example. Imagine you have to run a risk assessment for a client. You have to go to maybe to a risk company that gives you a report in of the client accounts. Maybe this client is already a client. You have some information in your CRM, and you have to check what information you have. And maybe you need some information from the client as well. So the robot has its own mailbox where you get information from the client. You have information as well from the risk management company, and you have information as well from your own system. So the robot can go through all the systems, get information, and give it to you in a time that maybe you are going to, a human is going to take like 10 to 20 minutes, and a robot is going to do it in 1 or less minutes. And where the AI and all these technologies come in this picture, the robot works with an exchange of applications. So if you need some specific skill in order to process maybe a document, or you need to process facial recognition or wherever, you can put it the robot skill like a plugin, and the robot will acquire this skill in a kind of matrix way in order to process that information. That's the way the robot works. It's not science fiction, it's not black magic, it's just like a human resource doing a task, executing a task that is repeatable and it's standard. So, they are telling me that I'm run out of time, sorry. Some final thoughts. That's the way I see the possible viable law firm in the future, a new business model. We will have, in the first position, we will have the too big to fail. The partners are going to be at the top of the chain as well, because they own the goodwill of the company. Then we will have the bourgeoisie that is there, the key associates that can perform added value task on top of the repeatable tasks. And we will have two new players within the firms. We will have the AI and APIs that will be the link between the last layer of the model, the robots that will do the most boring tasks, and the AI and APIs that will do the link with, between the human side and the robotic side. Well, thank you very much for your attention.